I'm going to show you a method to soloing that's going to instantly make you more musical and more melodic. Plus, it'll get you out of the rut of going through the motions with your scale patterns when you're soloing. But as always, be sure to stick around till the very end of the lesson because I've got a free gift for you and your guitar, and you're both going to love it. All right, now let's get into this. So at the beginning of the video, I was improvising to a backing track in A minor, kind of a Thrill Is Gone minor blues style track. And what I was doing was actually playing the pentatonic scale, the A minor pentatonic scale, the entire time. Now what I didn't do was just go up and down the pentatonic box like this. What I did instead was I played the same scale, but I played it across the strings, particularly the D and the G strings. So it was the A minor pentatonic scale, and let me show you exactly how I, spanned it across the strings. So starting on the 2nd fret of the G string, that's an A note, right? So that's the root note, and we can play all 5 pentatonic notes just within this string here, going from 2nd fret to 5th fret to 7th fret to 9th fret to 12th fret. Which these notes are the same as right there within that scale pattern. It's just now spanned across the G string. And what I did was just to add like a lower octave, did the same thing on the D string, right? And in fact, the frets are almost exactly the same except for one. So we start on the 2nd fret of the D string, and then 5th fret, and then 7th fret, and then 10th fret. This is where it's different. And then 12th fret. So it's all the same frets except for these two right here across those 2 strings. Just between the D and the G strings, I was playing the A minor pentatonic scale. And the most linear layout of it is what starts on the 2nd fret of the G string, right? We have our root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7th. All 5 notes in the minor pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, why is this different? If it's the same exact scale, how am I able to play more musically just by spanning it across one string? Well, let me tell you. Take, for example, a saxophone player or a violinist, or even a singer for that matter, right? The way that they approach melody is a lot more natural, I'd say, compared to us guitar players. It's hard to imagine a singer noodling with their voice, right? At least in the same way that us guitar players tend to be sometimes, if we're just kind of caught in that sort of mindless, just noodling autopilot, right? Which is just a bad habit that we just it's not productive for us, and it doesn't allow us to be musical and expressive. It's more or less us just like being stuck playing scale patterns and not playing the melodies found within, right? But when we think about, like those other types of musicians, the way that they approach melody is a lot more natural, right? And as guitar players, when we adapt a scale to one string, like this A minor pentatonic scale, right? It's going to allow us to be more melody focused, and it's going to force us to like make these notes sound interesting, and it really makes it hard for us to noodle, which is a great thing. We want to make it as difficult as possible for us to go into that autopilot of just noodling, right? So if we were to take just this pentatonic scale, it already has a much more vocal quality to it. And you don't have to go up and down the scale. You can like kind of skip notes, like going from, and that sounds pretty. And you don't have to just like slide through all the notes. But it does have that nice vocal quality. You can do something like this. You can do trills. Like trills and slides, vibratos. Bends too. That totally works too. So, and just right there, like I'm just making stuff up, on the spot, but I'm letting the way that the notes are laid out are putting me in a position to really think in terms of melody. I'm focused more on like, what kind of melodies am I coming up with? And if at any point in your life you thought that the pentatonic scale is not melodic or you can't make melodies with it, well, this is going to prove you wrong right here. In fact, this approach is going to make the pentatonic scale all melody. because you're not going to be caught in that trap of like playing a lower octave register, middle octave, and upper octave like you would with this pattern. And don't get me wrong, I still use the crap out of those full, pentatonic scale patterns that cover all 6 strings, but to just, again, help you bust out of that rut of just playing mechanically and focusing more on melody, right? This is the perfect approach to doing that. And you don't even have to use both the G and the D strings. You can use just the G since you cover the whole scale anyway. In fact, I would recommend you start there because you got the whole pentatonic scale right there, just on the G string, and you can move it, to the D string when you start to feel more confident with how you're navigating across those notes and making melodies with them, right? It's going to force you to have to do that. So if you were to limit yourself with just that one string and then bring in the D string eventually, right? And just stay there, just live there for a while. It's going to force you to start coming up with interesting ideas. And I promise you, you're going to look at the pentatonic scale in a whole new way compared to when you're just playing those full scale patterns. Oh, and by the way, if you're getting value out of this lesson, do me a favor and hit that like button and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. I got a whole lot more lessons coming your way, and doing this really helps let me know that you want to see them. So thanks in advance, and let's get back to business. And another great thing about playing the pentatonic scale this way is it gives you the opportunity to practice your finger picking, So if you want to tap into your inner Jeff Beck or Mark Knopfler, which will really unlock a whole new level of dynamics to your playing too. So not only do you have melody, which you'll be a lot more focused on playing the scale this way, but you can work on the subtleties in your playing. That's what I love about doing stuff like this. And it's actually perfect for doing this fingerstyle thing, Now that I've showed you this method, I invite you to exclusively play the A minor pentatonic scale this way. Just do it for a while and try to force yourself to not fall into the old habits, right, of just like playing a scale up and down, because the temptation will be there, but with the notes laid out this way, it'll help kind of fight back to make sure that you don't do that. And I recommend throwing on a backing track in the key of A minor. It doesn't have to be a minor blues, just anything with the A minor tonality will really work with something like this. And now that you made it to the end of the video, I want to thank you for hanging out with me, and I want to make good on my promise to give you that free gift. And I just so happen to have it right here. Haha. This is a free guide on how to instantly solo in any key. So today we went over the key of A minor, but imagine being able to apply what we learned today over any key, major or minor. Well, that guide is going to get you there in record time, believe me. Just be sure to click here to claim your free copy or check the link in the description box. The guitar is a very melody-driven instrument. And sometimes all you got to do is just lay out a scale a little bit differently to really find the melodies within.